Hey, everybody. It's Christine Parakis, and I'm here with the Career Invincibility Show. And I cannot tell you just how excited I am. Uh, this is a new show. You guys get to hear for the first time with me this amazing guest that I have. I went straight to the top of the heap to get us started. And, we're facing a global pandemic. I've survived 2 Category 5 hurricanes under the most traumatic experiences of my life. And I brought to you today the one and only GNO, Good News Only guy. Now, I'm just dying to get him to talk and chat and tell us about himself and all these things. But I want you to understand that not only is he a good friend, which thank God for that, but being with him is like being in a big giant bear hug. And he's got an extraordinary career as an entrepreneur, as a business person, as an athlete. Talk about 20 marathons and 9 Boston marathons, which as a non-marathoner, I'm assuming that's even more prestigious. But Mike is just an amazing guy, has an amazing family. I am a personal dance partner of one of his sons, but honestly, I just really want to get him to help us all feel a little bit better today about everything that's going on in the world. So let's just take it on, Mike, and solve all the world's problems.
Well, Christine, first of all, thank you for having me. Yes, it's funny. We belong to a mutual group of friends that when I came across you, we've hit it off ever since. And my main thing in life is to wake up grateful every day and have a good news only attitude. And I think it helps me, especially during this time period where, I have people that come up to me and they know me as GNO, Good News Only, not Girls Night Out. And they almost are afraid to tell me bad news. And for me, that's awesome, because I'm like, you know what? I know that there is bad news out there. I just try to find the silver lining in everything, because I think everybody right now needs to be grateful for what you do have, get close to the things that you'd like to get closer to, and now you have the time to do it. Reach out to mom, dad, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, people you haven't talked to in a while, and that helps me every single day. And I know that it comes with the good attitude, healthy habits, waking up in the morning, looking out and saying, God, I'm just so lucky to be alive. Look in the mirror and say, hey, let's be proud of ourselves today. At the end of the day, look at yourself again, and what did you do today that you can become better for tomorrow? And that's just the way I live every day. And it's so funny. I have some people come to me and say, yeah, how are you good news only? I go, how are you not good news only? If I woke up in the morning and I decided to be Eeyore and think I was going to lose my tail, I'd prefer to be Tigger. I'm a failed pessimist. I'm an absolute failed pessimist. And, people say glass is half full. I really, truly believe I won the lottery every morning and my glass is overflowing. Now, that's just the way it is. And people that are around me get me, people that get to know me. I think you are the result of the people you spend the most time with. And I think I spent time with people like Christine that also have that same attitude, that are survivors of things that are just hurricanes. I mean, gosh, unbelievable. I've been through so many things in my life, and I know that I'm grateful for the moments I have to just say thank you to people, to be grateful, to think of other people first. Because if you think of yourself first, you will never win in life. It's not about you. It's about how you can have a gift in life and then give your gift away. If it's energy, give your energy away. I promise you, people will be benefiting from it, and the world will be a better place.
Well, amen, Mike. I mean, hallelujah, right? I'm raising my arms to the heavens. Just hearing you already lifts me up, right? And I think what's really important about what you said, and funny enough, right? We met, I think, when I was just back from the hurricanes and still deeply traumatized, and telling that story in infinite detail at Ken's prodding. And, what I loved about you always, and certain people in my life who were able to take me in at that time, because it's like another world to me, Christine 1.0, I guess, but it was really that, we didn't ever dwell on the story of it, right? It was interesting and, gripping perhaps for some, but it was really about, okay, great, and next, right? And let's move on from there, and not like we don't honor it as an experience and keep doing what it takes to process, but so we don't ignore it, but we don't make it define us. And it takes for some of these things, I call them category 5 experiences, like the hurricanes, or maybe we're going to think of the global pandemic as a category 5, that they don't become defining. They contribute and they lift us up and they turn us into new people that can contribute more in the world. And so, that's how I've always seen you. And, the thing about you is I know that you can say this every day. And a lot of people will hear that and think, oh, yeah, right. Like you just able to, for you, your life is easy, right? Because you've had all this success and you're doing well and you've got a great family and, like that's all. But, let's talk about, because this is, it's about invincibility, right? And creating that.
Yeah.
We're not born into a straight line of life of ease, right?
Nope. Not at all.
So tell us a bit about that journey for us.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's like, I'm most proud of being a father of 4 children, and I have an amazing fiance, and I'm so fortunate for that in my life. That I think anytime you have that great group that supports you, it's sort of like your beliefs control who you are, and your beliefs only come from the people you are spending your time with. And I always say, like your hurricane experience, it's like what you did too. Is I like the line I use with my kids ever since they were little. I said, you have to learn, and then you remove the letter L, but you're never going to earn any kind of forward movement until you learn, right? So you learn from your experience and you remove the L, and then you start earning your way into the next generation. You also brought up a great point. You said moments defining you. I'm good friends with Chip Kelly, who is the coach over at UCLA. And I remember asking him, what's the toughest part of coaching? Because I like to consider myself as a coach leader. I like to help people. And he said, letting somebody know that their last play or their last moment should never define you, just to the point you just said. You can't ever let a bad moment define you. If I'm on the football field and I make a bad move on the football field and I let it bother me the whole game, I'm letting my other 10 teammates on the field down, and I can't move ahead. So that's, it's very, very important. And the other thing, I think, when you're going through life, so many people, especially today in our social media world, we are so conscious of what other people think. And my grandmother told me years ago, what other people think of you is none of your business. And I thought that was one of the greatest comments. I remember I was 12 years old telling her about these people that were, maybe making fun of me at school for something or other. And she says, whatever they think of you is none of your business. And I said, you know what? That really helped me for years on end up till today.
What a beautiful imprint, right? And, when you said that about the coach, the idea, I think, goes both ways, right? You don't let the last play define you, whether it's a great play or, a big mistake, unforced error in sports world. And, that's the thing, is about staying steady and even, so that when the highs come, they don't spin you out either, to take you, to disconnect you from the things that remind you to stay steady, to be grateful, to love your family, just to, not let those kinds of things either take us out. And, I'm listening to something that during this time period that was advising about, use this experience of quarantine to make yourself 10% better. And so even at the end of a good play, if you just stay steady with, I'm just going to be 10% better next time, I'm going to, use this experience, whether it's a high or a low.
I couldn't agree with you any more than that. I mean, it's like the most important thing. I always tell my kids, I said, let's just think for a minute. Every day, if you get even 1% better each day, think about 365 days and how much better you are the next day. But it's about defining what better is. So if you don't know what better is, then you need to get with the people that can help you get better. I have a very dear friend that Bruce Cardenas, and we always use this word because it's kind of old school, but we always say, I like to push people for the better, not the bitter. So if I'm talking to somebody, I'm actually trying to move them forward and better. Like if my friend made a bad move or a bad moment, I tell him, you know what? We can learn from this moment. We can actually change it this way. And then he becomes that 1% better, or forget even a percentage, 8% better. And I think it's important that we actually push our conscious circle to be better people and not to be bitter about the encouragement, because people look at it as they're putting you down. No, they're not putting you down. They're trying to push you up. I have a saying that I would never the only time I ever put my hand down on anyone is to help them up, because that's the only way the
Nice.
world will be a better place.
Yes, amen. That's beautiful. I certainly feel that around you. And, what's interesting is how, we know each other socially, and yet I have so much respect for you as a business person. And you are the guy that they've sent in to, do turnarounds. You've sat on boards, you mentor young entrepreneurs. You've got, a big job that I'm so grateful you taking the time out to chat with us. Let's talk about that a bit of how that translates in the business world, because we tend to harbor these beliefs in our personal lives and in our social relationships and personal relationships, but there's this attitude or expectation that when you're out in the corporate world, you got to be buttoned up, you got to be a certain way. They're all judging. You're a woman, you're not going to have the same freedom to talk. There's all kinds of stuff we bring into the boardrooms and the conference rooms with us. And I don't believe that does that. That's what happens to you. So tell us a bit about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. My first job was with a company called Milliken and Company, about a $3 billion fabric manufacturer. And I was always an intrapreneur as well as an entrepreneur. And I think when you hire people, you should be hiring people that are intrapreneurs. So they're a very creative person inside. And I'll never forget this. I worked for a division within the company called a knitted apparel group. And then there was a woven apparel group, and then there was an active apparel group. And I was working on a program that I couldn't find a product they liked from my division. So the worst organizational culture is one where one division is looking for another division to do bad so they look better. Never good. So what I did is I searched the library of fabrics for my other divisions, brought them, long story short, 9 million yard program with J.C. Penney's, and I got called into the HR department for stealing fabric from another division and selling it. And I said to him, "Aren't you in search of excellence?" He said, "What do you mean?" I go, "Search of excellence is when you work as a team. You talk about team, but you don't behave like one." The culture here was when I came here because you were team orientated. So why don't we readjust ourselves, and why don't you pull in the leaders of each division and ask them how angry or mad they would be upset at having a 9 million yard fabric order, or would they not be happy with it? And somehow they built a bridge and we all got over it. But it's kind of interesting. Cultures are so important, but they only come from, someone that is a coach leader. I think in the future, there's the $1 Trillion Coach was a guy, Bill Campbell. It's a great book that's out there. He passed away. He was one of the greatest coaches of all time. Matter of fact, he coached Steve Jobs and a few other very famous business rock stars. And basically, he was a chief coaching officer. I think in the future, there will be a chief coaching officer. That's the encouraging. There's a CEO, there's a CMO, there's a CTO. There needs to be a chief coaching officer. So if I've got 80 sales representatives and I know what all of their goals are and we all share them, I can constantly check on them and help them along the way. So one thing I've always done, I actually have a lot of people call me coach that I've had throughout my career. And I think that the main thing is to get everybody involved and feel like a part of the program. The minute someone doesn't feel like they're part of it is when they lose their interest in actually reaching the goals that are for the company. So that's where I'll start on the career.
Yeah, imagine that. People tend to resist coaching because they think it makes them look vulnerable or needy or incapable. We've got this whole idea in our culture that we've got to be perfect, we got to go it alone, we got to be powerful and strong, or we can't show vulnerability certainly in business, right? And so it has to start somewhere. I think it's so brilliant of you to come up with that idea of a chief coaching officer. And wouldn't it be ideal to start at the top, right?